Hi, everybody, and welcome back to La Capricornia with me, Priscilla Moreno. I'm super excited to be recording this video, you guys. You do not even know. There's just so many things I want to talk about. So, number one, I'm going to be announcing the winner of the contest at the end of this video. I'll be reaching out to those winners, and I'll be sending out the candles by the end of this week. And I'll let you guys know all the details. So you guys will know everything as soon as I reach out to those winners and get everything ready. The second part is wait until the end of this video, you guys, because I'm going to be doing your tarot card reading, as always. So I am definitely excited to see how that resonates with each and every one of you. And lastly, this video, you guys, is going to be about finding out who am I, right? And I know that's such like a sounds simple to answer, but it is one of the hardest questions I've had to answer and figure out, and I'm still figuring it out. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It's like a never-ending battle, but I'm getting closer and closer every day, and I love it, and I'm just being so authentic, and that goes with that, you guys. So stay until the end of the video. Let me know what you guys all think as always. And follow me on my other social media so you guys can connect with me more. Okay, you guys. So this topic is really close to me because it's something that I feel that I'm still working on. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be done with it. Is figuring out who I am. And to start off, when I first got into this, figuring out who am I, it was more because I had finally made a decision for myself to step into the right direction in my life, and I was feeling happy about it. And then it was kind of one of those moments of like, what now kind of thing, right? And it's crazy because especially when you're coming out, like let's say for an example, out of a relationship, you have this feeling of like, yeah, you're free. You can make the decisions you want, right? You're basically like, you're you, right? But, sometimes you have that thought of like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. And then it's like, well, why not? Why can't you, you know, not do anything for a day? Why can you not actually do something? You know what I mean? Or whatever the theory is. I know for me, the biggest thing was like my spirituality was actually like, investing my time in my candles and doing candle work and learning tarot and learning, the universe and what it meant to me. That's something that I was basically told was not okay to follow, you know? And it did stick with me. And then even after that, I felt a little weird about it. And it's crazy because it was like, no one could tell me anything. There was no one there to be like, I just don't feel like that's the right thing for you to do, or I don't like it, or whatever the reasoning was behind it, right? But I still kind of had that like, well, like, I don't know if this is something I should follow. And, I found myself almost like, I guess, doing it in secret for myself, which is, I know you guys, the weirdest thing ever. Weird, right? And when I realized that, like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I not allowed to speak on it? Or, so what if someone thinks it's weird? There's plenty of other people that are totally fine with it, and maybe the people around me are just not the right people to be around me. And it took a lot of that, you guys. It took a lot of realizing that I'm not the problem, I wasn't doing anything toxic. I wasn't doing anything negative. I'm not hurting anybody. I was just trying to figure out who I am and connect with myself and believe in what I wanted to believe in, and what is so wrong in that? And I feel like there are a lot of people who get stuck in that situation where it's like, you know, I've always wanted to do this. And then when you ask them, like, why didn't you do it? It's always like, kids, husband, life. They have these excuses. And I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but they are at the end of the day. Even for myself, I was actually reading an article the other day where it was talking about, someone that was already much older deciding to change their career last minute. And I think they had become like like a specialist for some kind of specialist in like the medical field, and they had to go back to school, and they were already, older, and they were like, you know what, this is going to be years, it's going to be like, I think it was like 3 or 4 more years of schooling that they had to do, but they ended up doing it, and like they're living their life, they're doing what they dreamed of. And to me, it just puts that in perspective, like, do I want to live my whole life and figure out, once I'm older, that this is something that I wanted to do and I barely decided to do this? And what if, like, I hold myself back? And again, no kicks on anyone that is doing this. It's just, I feel, even from seeing that article, that person said, this is something I've always wanted to do. I held myself back and then just finally did it. Did I want to be that person? Did I want to be that person that's like, held myself back, and then finally did it later? And then now I'm looking back like, oh my gosh, I waited years for this and I didn't do it. And like, definitely the answer is no. And I know there is a fine line because, again, there's children, there's different things that kind of come into the mix. So there are some things that you might have to kind of like, meet up with and not meet up with, or things that might have to wait. And that's totally fine, you guys. Um, Life definitely has its way of bringing to you exactly what you need in the right timing. Um, as long as you totally believe in yourself and you don't give up on yourself. And I truly, wholeheartedly believe that, you guys. I know even doing something like this, podcasting, right? I remember like thinking like, I'm not young anymore. Like, who the heck is going to be interested in watching me or hearing me? And then I realized, well, some of these podcasters, YouTubers that I watch and listen to are my age or older. Like, why are you beating yourself up over this, right? Um, when you really think of it in hindsight, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You're doing what makes you happy. And this definitely makes me happy. And, it goes into like, who am I? Do I want to be the person that tells my kids, you know, I was the person that didn't do anything, was stuck in my room, isolated myself, just followed in line? No, I do have a daughter and a son, because for both of them, I wish them both the same thing. Is I don't want them to fall in line. I don't want them to just feel like, oh, this is my stereotype, this is my role, this is what I have to do. Like, no, no, it's not. You don't have a role. This isn't a movie. You're not doing this for entertainment. Like, it's your life. Like, why are you gonna play? You know what I mean? Um, I want him to make the best decision for himself, and my daughter the best decisions for herself, and not feel like she had to do anything that made her unhappy. I don't know what their lives are going to lead them down, but I definitely know that I had to be that change for them to see that. And unfortunately, the life that I was living before was not authentic, and it did not send that message at all. And I I look back, and as much as I can be upset at myself for it, I'm so proud of myself for it at the same time too, because I identified that. I recognized I didn't want to live the life that I wanted to live, and I did something about it. And unfortunately, that did cause issues with, you know, um, basically my relationship and things like that. And the life that I did have before, because it didn't just strain life there, it also strained life, um, just overall in general. And, it's crazy once you start choosing yourself, that's when you start realizing, who you are also includes who is around you, which is so crazy, I know. And it's a hard decision to make sometimes, because that does sometimes involve family members. And like, that's another part to it too, you guys, is sometimes choosing yourself, choosing your happiness is going to reveal like who doesn't have those intentions for you. And it's like, how does me being happy make you so upset, and why? And unfortunately, like I said, you're gonna have to cut off those people, or you might have to put up those boundaries. Or sometimes it's as simple as a conversation. And, hopefully that person is open and they're willing to like listen to you and actually change. But that's where it gets so hard, you guys, because, you know, you're trying to choose your happiness, but again, you have to make these decisions sometimes. And I feel like for me, the more that I fought not being happy, the more the universe kind of like forced me into that path. And it doesn't always do that, but I guess for me, the way I see it is, and I've said it before, is the more and more I wasn't following my path, the more and more, I felt like things were happening. And at the time, I felt like they were happening to me, when in reality, they were happening for me. It was the universe trying to tell me, like, hey, wake up, get out of there, or hey, this person does not have your best interest. Like, you need to go. And of course, we all do this. I was just not listening, and I thought I could handle it, and you know, I would down talk myself, or I would let others down talk me. And I just had this whole narrative in my head of, you know, you can't do this. You know what I mean? Who are you without this person, or, without this situation? And I was just so in it, I wasn't seeing it. So once I truly looked at things for what they were, try to have the conversation, things like that, it was not happening, you guys. And the universe just made that very clear, in saying, yeah, no, I'm gonna throw this at you. This is your last freaking sign, and the sign is for you not to be there, kind of thing. And it woke me up. It definitely woke me up. And I was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm good. And I decided, no, I need to make myself happy. And actually, talking about making sure who you're surrounded by, also has good intentions, um, or I guess like good vibes. I also want to talk about what happened afterwards. So, after I decided, I'm going to live my life authentically, do things for myself, choose myself, um, I had a moment. I remember I was talking to my son, and I asked him, because I wanted to check in on his mental health and well being. I asked him, like, hey, it's been a couple weeks. How are you feeling? Is everything okay with you? And, like, do you have any questions or anything? And I was just super surprised. His reaction was, no, I'm fine. And he's like, you seem really happy. He's like, and I'm just happy with that. He's like, and he just went into like how, you know, he just definitely could feel it, and he knew that I wasn't happy, but that I just seemed to be much happier and stuff like that. And that's just what he wanted. And this was coming from like my son, and I had to stop and really look at myself and be like, not only was your decision of holding yourself back and letting this false narrative play in your head, but you were letting that go onto your kids. And the crazy thing about it, you guys, it also made me realize at that moment. So before I had made that decision of, doing things for myself, being happy, choosing myself, my son was not doing that great in school towards the end of that. And I could not figure out why. And I remember having these conversations of like, what's going on? What's happening? Why aren't you doing good? And, it was like a light switch. When I made that decision, I realized, like, wait, he's doing so much better in school. Like, he's actually turning in all his work. I'm not fighting with him every morning to get up all the time. Um, and it just, I saw that. I saw the difference that it made. And, oh, you guys, I felt like such a horrible mom at that moment. Um, and I really wish I would have seen the impact of who I am, how I act, and how that affects them a lot more. Even though I thought, I was being that mom, smiling and pretending, everything's fine, kids. I wasn't being authentic. And, energy's energy. You can feel that, and they can feel that. I had to realize like they're just people, and being my children, who knows, maybe they're empaths like I am, but they definitely felt it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I felt so horrible. So sorry. Like I said, it takes a lot into finding out who you are, but it's definitely, it starts off with making the choices that are right for you, doing what makes you happy. And even if you don't end up on the path that you think you're supposed to be on, you still end up on some kind of path. To be very honest with you, I was making all these decisions, being happy, doing me, And then even with this move, I was like, I had talked about wanting to move to a different state before and exploring and, doing things like this. But I held myself back and, I didn't realize that the universe was going to present me with this opportunity. I always thought that I would travel, I didn't actually think I was going to move. And the universe was like, girl, you're moving. Like, I know it sounds so weird, but definitely that opportunity came up and it was just, everything fit in line. The way that I felt, that opportunity being open, it all went in together. And then even when I had the conversation, you know, with the kid's dad and stuff like that, like, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. Are you okay with it? Because I understand it as a move. I didn't just selfishly make this move. I did ask the question, and when he was like, yeah, go for it, even if he was not thinking that I was going to actually do it, I took that as a yes, and I was like, okay, we're rolling with it. And God, like, I'm so happy. And I'm not saying my life is perfect because it's not. I still go through a billion things, but I am happy. And, things get hard, but I am truly, like I said, figuring it out who I am, doing what I love. And even with this, you guys, this podcast, um, I remember mentioning it before, and some people were kind of like, that's a little weird, And now that I'm doing it, like, I'm so happy. And unfortunately, those people are like the same ones that also backed off when I decided to choose happiness, So it just goes to show that, hey, they should have not been in your life and not had an opinion on it. Okay, well, that's it for this episode. I definitely am gonna, you know, go kind of almost into this theme, into this next one about, boundaries is gonna be the next. I'm sorry, I cannot talk right now, you guys. The next theme for the next episode is going to be about boundaries, and how I did that, because I think it's so important. And I actually get asked that a lot, like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, well, it's called boundaries. And as much as you think people would know about it, it's hard. And I totally understand you guys, because it took me a little bit to understand, like, what is a boundary. But that's it for now. I'm going to be reading the cards right now, so give me a second. Oh, and I'm also going to announce the winner. Okay, guys, so I'm going to be doing this one a little different. I'm actually going to make a larger spread, and this is going to be the energy for this next week, you guys. So it's the collective. So we do have, sorry, my cards are like falling all over the place. We have the Three of Wands, the Ten of Pentacles, the Strength card, and the Page of Cups. So you guys, the Three of Wands is about making a decision. So it sounds like we need to make a decision for this week. That is going to impact us and actually put us in a better position to get to this Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups, it has actually been coming up a couple of times. It's basically saying, like, you're setting yourself there. You're putting yourself in the right position, so you can see he's like, just has all these things that are bringing him abundance, and it's having that courage, make that decision, and go for it, you guys. It's basically what I'm getting. That tied into the Strength card and the Page of Cups. So it's definitely having that strength. You have it right now. So even seeing the little, like, infinite symbol, you have, like, these thoughts, like, you have all these things, like, you know what I mean, like, you're getting there, you're bringing in your abundance. And tied with the Page of Cups, the Page of Cups is basically doing almost kind of like a service for others. So it sounds almost like it's something that's going to benefit you, but it's also going to benefit others as well, in this reading. So that's the message that I'm getting. And I'm also going to pull two more cards, you guys. And these are for my prayer cards, which are going to tell you what to focus on. So for these two cards where I'm telling you make a decision, you know, you're bringing in abundance. You're basically, you already had the manifestation there. It's just following through with it, right? You did get focus your mind. So again, it all ties together, you guys. It sounds like you need to focus your mind, stay on it, make that decision. It's what you've been preparing yourself for. So why not, just do it. Even if you think you need a little bit more time, like you got this. And then with the strength and page of cards, you got spiritual abundance. Again, you guys, like it's all fitting into each other. So you definitely have that strength. Looks like it's going to be something, if you're thinking about an idea for like your business or whatever you're doing, sounds like the way you got to go at it is, what can I do to help others, kind of, and take that step. But it's going to work for you, and it's going to bring you abundance, you guys. Spiritual abundance, and that can come in different ways, different blessings, but your guides are there to let you know that you're on the right path. So that's it for this reading. So now I'm going to use my phone real quick to get the names, because what I did is I used like this app that, like, I guess shuffles the names, and then I'll let you know who those winners are. Okay, guys. So the winners are Pomona 80, S. Marie Perez, and Gil's my agent. So congratulations, you guys. You guys get to try out the candles first. So I'll be getting all that ready. Like I said, I just need to get the labels, and I think they're supposed to come in tomorrow. Get those on there. I'll reach out to you guys, get that address from you guys, and I'll send them out to you guys. So I'm super excited for you guys to try this out and see what you guys get out of these candles. I definitely would appreciate the feedback. And again, you guys, I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, and for everyone that entered or shared that contest along. Okay, have a great week, everybody, and let me know what you guys think about this episode, as always. And thank you so much for the support. As you can tell, I'm like really excited about this. I'm so happy, you guys. I'm so happy.